Oh, yeah. I love that thing, man. Kyle is the bomb. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday evening, and your old buddy Dan and Kyle and John are here. We're joined this evening by Southeast Kansas touring pro.
Yes.
Yes.
Scott Tassi in the house.
That's how we do it right there.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Surprise.
Okay, so how long before Moody says something smart?
I would say
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
I'll give it 3. I've got
and then
fly
Dominic.
buzzing me.
Yeah, I had to pull on his arm just a little bit to get him over here, but mission accomplished.
It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes after Dan clicks join us live on KBN, because that's when he'll get the notification and say, "Oh yeah, they're on," and then he'll click on. So yeah, 3 minutes after that.
That's my vote.
Well, Kyle, you've struck a chord with the viewers so far the last 2-3 weeks with this boat maintenance corner, whatever you want to call it, your tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
Richard Kiblinger reaching out and giving us some positive feedback from last week, and we appreciate that, Richard. We appreciate you. So what do you got for us this week, Kyle?
Well, per viewer request, Richard reached out and, we were messaging back and forth just a little bit, and he wanted to talk about batteries a little bit. And, batteries are a big deal on a boat. I mean, if you don't have battery power, you don't have battery voltage, you're not going fishing for very long, And kind of a little bit of the norm nowadays is a lot of electronics, big trolling motors, accessories out the wazoo, power poles, you name it, guys got to have it. And that comes with a price. You got to pay for batteries. You got to have them. Very important to get a battery that will withstand the vibration, the heat, the cold, long days, all that. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of choices out there. And you can make it as complicated or as less complicated as you want, to be honest with you.
And price point.
I mean, because, lithiums are kind of the fad nowadays with the, less weight, and they hold up to their standard. A good trait of a lithium battery is that it's super light compared to an AGM or a flooded wet cell battery. It's very durable for the most part. And you get a constant, fully charged 13 volts until they're dead, until they're used up.
20%.
So, it's not a battery that starts at fully charged at 13.5 and goes to, oh crap, I tried to start my outboard and my graphs are flashing at me because the battery voltage is 10.5. I mean, but there's also some calculations that you got to do, so I'm not going to tell you what brand of battery to buy. I'm not going to tell you that a flooded wet cell battery is a bad battery, because they're not. They still work fine. But what I would tell you to do is get out your owner's manuals of what you're going to accessorize your boat with, and add up the amount of amps per hour those accessories are going to draw from your system. So, for example, let's say I've got a couple of units on the bow, and I've got an active target module under the console. Figuratively speaking, it's somewhere around 5 amps per hour.
Yep.
So if I were to buy a 50 amp hour battery at 5 amps per hour, it should last 10 hours. I mean, pretty easy math for the most part, you know, but it can get complicated. So you got to be careful, because a fully charged brand new battery, you know, it may run all your electronics for a couple months, but when it starts kind of getting used a little bit more often, it's going to die on you. So just look out for that. You know, something else is with the lithium battery setup, you got to have a battery charger that is capable of charging lithiums. That's very important. A lot of guys kind of assume, oh, my charger will work kind of thing. Not necessarily.
Nope.
There is certain brands that charge lithiums. If you're looking at buying lithiums, you know, do some research and find you a good charger that is capable of charging lithium. AGM batteries are good also. They can handle a little bit of abuse. They don't actually discharge as quickly as a flooded wet cell.
Yep.
They tend to do better on if you're going to hook them up to, say, your outboard and maybe your live well pumps and things like that.
So
it's just kind of a mix of, you know, a healthy mix of what you want, really.
something to add to the battery thing. With like all the new Merc, the big 4-strokes, the 250s, you know, Mercury requires you to have like a 31 group size in an AGM. If, you know, and that's per their warranty stuff. And then to go back and touch on the lithium, this is coming from a rep from ProGuide. Mercury is the only engine brand that will allow a lithium starting battery at this point. So for everybody that's thinking about upgrading, you might check with your engine manufacturers to make sure it's to spec.
And, you know, with that said, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of on a budget. You know, I'm just a weekend fisherman. I'm still running flooded cell batteries for my trolling motor. I mean, they're just so reliable, and they go through a pound in the boat. I mean, you're just getting bashed around, and they still discharge when it's cold. They still discharge good when it's hot. The main thing is, in any electrical batteries maintained system in your boat, when you get done fishing at the end of the day and you back it into your garage, plug it into the charger and charge them up.
Mm-hmm.
These battery chargers nowadays are actually made to charge and maintain and trickle all at the same time. If you can, just leave them plugged in. I mean, it's simple as that.
I got one more on the lithium. So the technology is still pretty new, and this is my thing with the lithium. I would switch, but the big problem that I have with them is while I'm running AGM or flooded, if I'm at a tournament somewhere where it's not real accessible, if I have a battery go down, I can replace it a whole lot easier than if I have a lithium.
Yeah.
So for the guys that do run them or want to run them, it might behoove you to buy an extra. That's just my 10 cents.
Yep, you never know.
You know, all these trolling motors now, the upper end trolling motors, you can cycle them between 24 and 36 volts. So worst case, if you're, you know, running 36 volt and lost a battery, you could reconfigure and go back to 24. But I would just soon be able to go to Walmart and buy a battery.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so a couple comments, questions. First of all, if you can tell me where my manuals are for all of these units and everything I've got on my boat, that would help greatly. As soon as I take them out of the box, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm too manly to keep the manual.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually read the manual.
YouTube.
Yeah, and you got YouTube, and I got Lowrance folks on speed dial. So,
well, yeah, but you know, to add to the Lowrance comment, I'm a big Lowrance guy. I'm a Lowrance believer. I'm not gonna lie. they've got a support tab on their website, and all it is a mouse click away, and you can download any operator's manual for any unit they've ever sold.
Right, but I'm not going to do that when I've got them on speed dial. So
I wouldn't either.
You know me. Yeah. So okay, so that's the comment. The second, the question is, I guess. So I run AGMs all around, and I've been running X2 power, which used to be really good. And I just put a brand new cranking starting battery in, I don't know, maybe last summer. And from get-go, it does not have the power that it used to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's cheaper made, but I mean, they have supposed to have like a 5-year warranty on them, and maybe I just need to take it out and take it back. But I got so much
your charger.
Yes.
Well,
So it's a pain in the butt to get it. You know, I've got so much crap back there now, wiring and all that. It's almost an all-day job just to get my cranking battery out in the end.
Mhm.
So
the question I have is number one, what's your fully charged voltage at the beginning of the day, and do you have a voltmeter on your dash on your console?
I have the Mercury.
SmartCraft.
Yeah.
What's the gauge say? Have you checked it when you fired it up?
So it's like right at 12. It isn't above 12, that's for sure.
No.
But it's not 13 by any means.
But when you're just key on and that SmartCraft gauge says 12 volts, it's just reading battery voltage. When you crank it up, when you start your engine up,
It should go to 13.7.
you should see 13.7 or close to it, 13.8.
Yeah, and I probably do. I mean, it just doesn't last the day. Like if I catch a fish early, which is rare, but if I catch a fish early and I have to put them in the live well, by 2:00, I'm not like I can still start my motor and my live wells are running and everything. But you've probably heard it at Big Hill. When I come in,
your engine's still running.
And you hear the beep when I'm lowering my power poles or I'm trimming up or trimming down, and it starts beeping because of low voltage. That's because I've had my live wells on all day, and it shouldn't do that on an 8-hour tournament. You just shouldn't.
It shouldn't. And what I would do, John, is I would check your alternator output.
That's another problem of mine. I don't run around. You know that. So it doesn't get a charge. Like I may put the trolling motor down and crank the battery a couple times a day.
I
do more down here. When I'm running down here, but like at Big Hill, I go up and put the trolling motor down above the bridge and never turn it on again until the end of the day almost.
I would honestly, if you've got any space in that Ranger bass boat at all, I would maybe sister in another battery and wire it parallel.
What size batteries are you running?
31s.
Wow.
You can sister in a group 24 or something of that nature, maybe, but you're going to have to
have the space.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the space. That's why I was contemplating going to lithiums where I got smaller, lighter, little more space.
And doing some dedicated power or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a 50 amp auxiliary lithium battery for some dedicated power for my front stuff. And I put 2 units in an active target module box on it, and it helped me out.
But, I do have a tip for you. I just thought about this. So a guy taught me this several years ago. So I'm running a a 31 AGM starting battery, and then I have two 12s and on the bow, a 16 on the console, and active target. And I'm powering all that through that 31. So on your brightness settings on your graphs, if you will back that off just one click, you'll be surprised how much battery you'll save.
It is actually a good tip.
And another one, you know, and I'm horribly bad about it, but like your console unit, when you get up to fish, put it into standby.
I do that because I try to do that to save battery. So I'm pretty religious about doing that.
If you'll knock the brightness from all the way at the very, very brightest setting down one, you'll be surprised how much that'll save you.
I'll try that.
Yep.
Cool.
I mean, but I've got C clear power, you know, and they hooked all that up. So it should be helping things. I don't know if it's just the battery itself is not as well made as they used to be, or
It's
what.
a toss up.
Could be just a bad battery.
Could be, but I'll try that stuff.
The brightness thing helped me a bunch, which I wasn't having any problems so much because I'm kind of an impatient guy. If I'm not catching them, I run.
Those 254 stroke Mercs got 60 amp alternators.
Right. The 4-strokes have a lot bigger alternator, so the charge rate when you run is a lot quicker too. So a lot of the older boats with the
You see what I have?
Opti.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Try having all this cool stuff and having an EFI. So there you have it, DB. Tip of the week.
Well, while we're still on the subject of batteries and chargers and whatnot, has anyone, and this is for the viewers also, has anyone ever used a solar charger?
I see a lot of them. Never used one.
Yeah, I'm asking because I saw one in the store the other day and I thought, I never thought about that before. I wonder, they're fairly small. Just a little panel. That wouldn't be worth sticking in the boat,
We rent those. I'm sorry. The company I work for rents a lot of equipment, and some of the trailers are electrically powered trailers. They lower to the ground with electric over the hydraulic stuff, and they actually come with solar chargers, solar maintainers for the batteries. And they seem to work pretty good. So I would just, see how many amps it's putting out, and,
couldn't hurt.
No. Even if it replaces maybe an amp or two an hour or something.
Except when you leave it on there and go to take off and it goes flying off the back of your boat.
Well, yeah.
I saw one, I won't say where, but I saw one just a week ago, and a guy had bolted it to the cowling of his engine.
Guess he wasn't caring about looks, was he?
No.
Drag.
I would say that man had it fly off a few times.
Yeah, probably so.
Yes.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Evan. Dennis. Who else is up there? Cranker, our musical genius. Jack Graves. Cool.
Man, we're getting some new folks on here.
I like it.
I do like it. So still on the batteries, on the trolling motor side. So is there a battery? I'd run a 519, so I just have an 80. I have an 80 Ultrex on it. Is there a battery, like one single battery that will run that trolling motor, where I could put another battery in there beside it to run the electronics?
If you go lithium, yes. Yeah. You can run one single 24-volt lithium.
Is it enough?
I have no idea. It couldn't be any worse than now. I wouldn't think.
I mean, my trolling motor's fine. My trolling motor power and all that, and I run the same batteries. the same, 31 AGMs on that side.
Mm-hmm.
My trolling motor's fine. It'll run all day and be fine, wind or not.
I just think you're taking a gamble, and that's just my opinion. But you're relying on one battery for your trolling motor only.
And if something happens to that battery, you're up a creek.
How much smaller are they? Could I get two?
Well, it's not.
Could I get two in the two? Could I get three lithiums in the space that I have for my two 31 AGMs?
I don't know unless he goes to 24.
Even if you went to the 24 case size, I don't think so. It would take up.
You'd have to look. I mean, I don't think the 24 AGM or the 31 AGM is much.
The 31 or 29 is the same thing.
Yeah, and then but if he goes to a 24 lithium, I don't know that the height and the length are that much smaller. I think you're like maybe, I don't remember the specs on any of them.
I don't either. You might be able to stack them front to back instead of side to side.
Yeah.
If you need the width, or if you have extra width.
I mean, I think there's a little more space on that side, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
There probably is.
I know there's guys that run 2 and 3 group 24 size.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm on the fence with it still.
Yeah.
Go to a battery website, Pro Guide Batteries, for example. Go to their website and just look at their options and find their spec sheet and see the dimensions, and then try to, maybe take a piece of cardboard and cut it out and see if it would actually fit or not.
But then again, John, you got to look at your charger. If your charger is not capable of AGMs
or
lithiums, then you're going to have to upgrade that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have to upgrade it because it's the original before we even had lithium. So I doubt if it's compatible.
What did they put in it? It's in great.
I mean, it's a Ranger brand, probably Dual Pro, maybe.
Dual Pro.
Yeah, good charger.
Kind of looks like a Dual Pro, but it's got the Ranger name on it.
Yeah, they were good chargers too.
They're the same ones they put in Tritons back in the 90s and 2000s. And they were great. Just the cover of them got fragile.
Yeah.
And if you touched them, they'd disintegrate.
Gotta love boats. You know what they stand for, don't you?
Yeah.
Break out another 1,000.
What a good problem to have, though.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you have warranty. There's the key word in all of this.
America.
Some of us are thankful for warranty, and some of us are thankful for not a boat payment.
And insurance.
I'll take my chances.
Oh, Cranker says, who had the over on Moody? Well, there he is, right there.
You guys are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Thanks, Mark.
When did you post it? When did you hit we were on? Did you? You didn't?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're on, definitely.
I know, but usually you post like join us on there and
oh, okay. I'm with on the comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
you didn't.
I blew it. I totally blew it. I made that big
20
contest and
Yeah.
So 21 minutes over.
I don't like Evan's comment because if you're not scoping, you're hoping.
There you go.
They're getting fired up.
There you go.
oh my. Okay, Jack Graves, good co-angler. He's got a question. What's the best bass boat for a beginner? And Jack, are you talking brand or style or size or what are you thinking there? See if we get a little.
Everybody
I
tell them
have
what your first. Everybody tell them what your first bass boat was.
There you go. Evan
That's
says
a
one you
great-
can afford.
1983 Bass Tracker 2
There you go,
with a 40 horse. Outran everywhere I went.
Kyle.
I had a 1994 Nitro 170 fiberglass with a 90 horse 2-stroke on it. 17 footer.
And these are all used, I'm assuming.
Oh,
we didn't buy.
yeah.
We didn't buy them new.
Heavily used.
Danny.
Get ready for this one. And this was obviously club fishing. A 1969 Glastron.
You're showing
With
your
dude, you have no idea. With a 70 horse Johnson on it.
Can we go a step further, Danny, and ask if you were running that kind of boat, were you wearing those shorts like Biffle?
Oh yeah.
Warren.
Oh, definitely.
And then did you look like Captain Hook when you were standing on the trolling motor pedal up at the bow?
I had a hand tiller, believe it or not. But I still did. I still stood up there like that. And I had a mullet and I wore an earring back then.
Outstanding. That is vintage.com right there, baby.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is vintage. You can't
That
get
was
anywhere.
that was back before the turn of the century. So
That even makes you sound more ancient. Appreciate that.
You're showing your age.
Oh, that's hilarious.
question from Kevin Miller. Are you guys hearing anything about boat performance being affected when running lithium?
Yes.
Some boats need the heavier weight in the rear to keep the bow up. So
Correct. Yep. So something they're doing now is the battery trays. They're making them really, really heavy to put the weight back in. So everybody that thinks that they're going to gain speed and gain performance by going with lithium, the only one, and this is again coming from a rep from Pro Guide, but he said the only boat that really, really gains from lithium is Phoenix. The rest of them, they're having guys sandbag the back of their boats to get them to lift correctly.
Yep.
So the selling point is not you're going to gain speed and gain performance. It's longevity and
Constant voltage until the end of life.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I would think that would be more geared toward the newer boats, though. Like my boat, I'm quite certain is not set up for everything that I have on it now.
Right.
You know, like power poles weren't even. I mean, this is 2012, so they were just like new, and I put them on later. So you know, some of these boats, like the older boats, I would think that the lighter lithiums would actually balance out the extra weight that you've put on it with some of this other stuff. But the newer boats, yes, absolutely, I agree.
Right.
I couldn't imagine a Champion with lithiums.
You probably wouldn't be able to drive it.
Probably not.
Something else along with the weight thing, you know, even whether it's an older boat, newer boat, you know, the trolling motors are heavier. We're stacking more grass. We're putting more stuff on the nose. So maybe it evens out, cancels itself out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question. Good question, though. I mean, it makes for a good conversation because a lot of guys just think, I just want to go fast and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if, you know, maybe that changes somebody's mind. And, you know, if you lose performance in your boat, I'd rather have a better performing boat than a whole bunch of lithium batteries that are going to burst a flame in the middle of the night in a motel room.
Don't get them wet.
I mean,
that's all I've heard.
I know a guy that was big up in a company that does lithium batteries for aerospace, and he won't buy them.
But on the same note, all the pros are running them, so they can't be that bad.
Yeah, I think they've come a long way. I think they have.
The battery management systems that are put in them are night and day better than the first runs of them.
Okay.
Whatever that was.
That's my phone.
My
Somebody
first
probably
boat,
got a snide comment that they don't want to say one.
my first boat was I'm not really sure the year. I'm guessing it was a 79 or 80 15-foot glass stream with a 90 horse Merc on it. We've talked about it. It would fly because I could pick it up with one hand, basically. And I could
That's
feel
zero
the
flotation.
I could feel the ripples underneath my feet when shooting across the waves. Brian, is that Bass Cat you bought from Jeff, Brian? If it is, it had a Suzuki on it, I thought.
Shaved heads and everything.
Wow. Oh, wait a minute. We better answer, Jack. I mean, we talked about all the. Hey, Travis, we talked about all the first boats we had, but we didn't really answer his question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Evan kind of answered the question. The first boat you buy should be whatever you can afford.
Exactly.
And
That'd be the
because
first thing.
Exactly just like what we all just said. I mean, look at the boats we bought. All of them were just boats we could afford.
And happy as the world.
It got me on the water.
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It got me on the water.
I guess the thing to consider is one, price, and two, where you're going to use it.
Yeah,
in relationship to whether to buy fiberglass, aluminum, are you going to be a small lake guy? Do you want to run the big lakes? Are you, public strip pits for people around here? That would be my considerations on buying a first boat. Would be where I would use it.
How long have you been a non-boater, Jack?
That was what I was going to ask. Honestly, is maybe he's planning on buying a boat just to fish around here local, and he's still going to fish some co-angler stuff on the bigger water. Then, if that's the case, go with a little bit something smaller so you don't have to spend a boatload of money. No pun intended.
Well, aluminum boats have come a long ways. And if you're going to be a small lakes guy and not ever getting the big wind and waves.
That 190, that 19-footer that Max got, that bass tracker, that sucker is nice. 154 stroke.
They've come a long ways.
Wide platform to fish out of stable.
There's tons of storage.
I really like him.
And you don't have to worry about washing and waxing it all the time. It's aluminum.
Who does that?
True.
I know somebody.
I mean,
when I got here tonight, he was shining on this Champ sitting in here.
I'm just petting old Pretty.
So Jack says he's been a co-angler 4.5 years, and he's looking to use his first boat for club tournaments, probably just Kansas lakes. So, honestly, Jack, if I didn't already have this Champion that I'm going to just pretty much overhaul everything on it, I'd go with a tin boat, honestly. For what I do, a lot more economy minded with the tin boat.
Yep.
Certainly durable. And if you're going to go blow around Cedar Bluff or somewhere out in the timber with the tin boat, and You put a little touch-up paint on it once in a while instead of buffing the gel coat for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But what Scott said is absolutely true. You really need to think about what your plans are to fish,
Right.
Agreed.
because I bought that 15-foot glass stream, and a year later I was looking to get out of it. Right. So I was looking to, and my next one was an 18-foot bass cat, and I wish that I would have bought a 19-footer at least. So make sure, it just depends on what you're going to fish. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going to fish club tournaments, and don't go too small. Wilson can get kind of nasty, and Milford, and so don't go too small, but don't price yourself out either. Get something you can afford. I would probably recommend getting something 19 foot or bigger if you can afford it. I mean,
Yeah.
I run a 519. I don't run a. Sometimes I wish I had a 520, whatever, but this boat will do everything I need it to do on any kind of water. If I just drive a little slower or whatever when it's rough, and it'll get me wherever I want to go. It'll get me places that I guess that I'm saying a 17 or maybe an 18 footer would struggle with, a little bit. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Something to add to that. If you went with a little bit smaller boat, whether it be aluminum or glass, instead of breaking the bank buying the boat that's basically a stock boat, you could sacrifice a little bit and then upgrade or gain in trolling motors, graphs, etc.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
And 18 foot is big enough. I can contest to that. Last year when I was in between boats, I ran a Z18 with a hand throttle from Wolf Creek all the way to Ketchum and back in a 40-mile-an-hour wind on Grand. So it can be done.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable, but it can be done if you're responsible.
Good night. How many beers did you have to have after that?
I didn't have time. My arms were cramping by the time I got to Shangri-La.
I would imagine.
I was never
Good
so happy to see Sailboat Bridge in my life.
Right. But that's my point exactly, though. If you're going to fish Grand, if you're going to fish the big lakes,
You need 19 or better.
It would only take you a couple trips like that to be wanting to get into something a little bit bigger. That's all I'm
Boats
saying.
are like graphs. And I'll say that with, I see a lot of people that, want the forward facing sonar and well, a 9-inch is enough. And I always tell them, if you think 9s, go with 12s. And basically the same thing with a boat. If you're happy with a 9 or a 19, get a 20.
There you go, Jack. We've completely confused you.
He'll be buying a water scamp after that.
You can buy Travis's 20-foot Triton. He just put it up for sale on this message.
Well, hey, yeah, if we're peddling boats on here, I got one too.
I got one too, actually.
Well, yeah. He's subtly showing it to you behind there.
And I know a great place where you can come buy one.
There you go. Would it be?
Can you see that far? Albers Marine.
Oh yeah, right there on me hat.
We talked about Roseanne last week.
Good lady, good people.
Absolutely.
They've got really good employees too.
They're all right.
From what I hear.
About 10 years ago, they was a lot better, but we'll say they're all right for now.
Yeah.
Mayhap a story is there.
Mm-hmm.
Not going down that road today.
Okay, so rapidly changing the subject to literally anything. Guys, anybody been fishing this week?
Yes. Or, well, Sunday.
Yeah.
I just burned a lot of gas.
So did I. Boy, we fished the same body of water Sunday.
And basically
in
ran the
separate
same
boats,
ran the same stretch and had the same outcome.
Phew, it was ugly.
If we're not all telling fishing tales here.
I wished I was just telling a story, but I can count on one hand how many keepers I had, and
Same here.
it was ugly.
Where were you?
Grand Lake.
Grand Lake of the Cherokees. Then not so grand this weekend.
Hopefully a little bit more grand this coming weekend in the Future Bass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you there, Moody. Got a spinning rod out. That's real bad.
Somebody's talking about a spinning rod all of a sudden. That scares me.
I've got 2 of them.
I fished the Monday nighter and had 3 keepers within 10 minutes.
Well,
you done something.
You better keep your mouth. Better get tight-lipped on that whole pattern there, John.
I mean, you know where I was probably.
Yeah.
And I should have, I should have weighed in. Always weigh your fish if you're fishing a tournament.
Why would you spend all the effort and time not to, buddy?
Because I got a late start. So, I fished the Monday nighter. So you got to weigh in at Serenity Point.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts at 6:00. I left the house at 5:45. So I'm like, crap, I'm going to drive around and put in over by Honey Creek. So I'm over there kind of near there. And as I'm driving, I'm like, man, I'm not going to get on the water till like 6:30, 6:45 by the time I get in, and I'm wasting time. It starts at 6. So I put in, we're at 11. And I'm like, if I catch 12 pounds, 11 or 12 pounds, that's what it's been taking on these Monday nighters. If I catch that, then I'll run over there and weigh them. Well, I didn't catch that. I caught 3 keepers, but they were all 2.5 pounders. Well, I don't know if it was that nobody fished Monday or the fishing was that tough, but it took, I think, 10 something to win, and second was 6 something.
Wow.
Ouch.
And I didn't go because I was like, I don't have 11, so I'm not going to run all the way down there to weigh. So I just put it on the trailer and went and checked Facebook. And I'm like, well, crap.
Every time.
Way to go.
That's a mental victory.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is definitely summertime.
Which is kind of
Speaking
what I
of
wanted
summertime.
That's kind of what I wanted to talk about with you, the special guest,
The not so special guest.
Oh, he's special.
You're correct there.
He's got a better tan than most of us. I think he kind of enjoys the summertime fishing a little bit.
Yeah, it's good. I'd rather be hot than cold any day.
And something I was just kind of try to lead you through is a lot of people have issues in the summertime, taking care of their fish and their live wells, dealing with the heat. I mean, they go straight to negative town. If you're not getting bit the first couple of hours in the morning and the sun starts shining on you, it's easy to get in a really nasty place mentally when it's that hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's something people can do, walk us through how you take care of your fish in the summertime, if you catch them.
That's the big thing is you got to catch them before you worry about taking care of them.
And then, what's something that you do to even prepare, maybe a couple days prior or something for a hot tournament? You're going to be out there all day long. You got to take care of yourself physically too,
mm-hmm.
right? So, I've been seeing you with these long sleeve T-shirts.
Yep.
How are those working out?
So for everybody that doesn't know me, I've done heavy highway construction for almost 20 years. So I work in the heat, I work in the cold. It's something that you just kind of get used to, but it's still hot. And I've never been one to wear long sleeve. I worked with a lot of the old timers, let's just call them, and everybody wore the real thin button up shirts at work, and they sweat through them. And I just thought they were the craziest things I'd ever seen or heard. I didn't want nothing touching my skin that I didn't have to. And in the same way with fishing, forever and a day, I just fished in a t-shirt. And, you know, it's hot. And it's part of it's just mind over matter, but it's hot and it's miserable. But this year I decided to try these sun shirts again. And I went with an AFTCO branded one, and I've wore it, the last 3 or 4 tournaments.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I don't think you're any hotter. And if anything, you may be a touch cooler, because when you do get the clothing, enough sweat gets in it, and if there's any breeze at all, it's surprisingly cool. And I'd have said you as crazy as a loon last year, but after just basically making myself do it, I think it's worth it. And then the whole skincare thing on top of that is big, but they're worth a try.
Yeah. I mean, John, Danny, do you guys have any particular brands? Do you guys wear long sleeves? Any particular brands that maybe, because I've been kind of looking around thinking about trying something, but
there's so many different like levels in each brand.
Yep.
Like in AFCO, you know, you got 2 or 3 different thicknesses. And same thing with Hook.
Yep.
And I personally like the Hook, the thinnest one that you can buy. It seems I'm more comfortable in it. The thinnest AFCO one is, I would rate it as just slightly less comfortable, but comfortable enough to wear. And I've been trying to wear the ones that are the hooded ones, you know, that so you put it up over your ears and stuff. And it's, when I make myself do it, I find myself not noticing it.
Correct.
It's making myself do it is the problem, because when I'm looking in the closet and thinking, what do I want to wear out here in this 100 degrees? I tend to not grab the hooded one, and I probably should more. But I like the Hook, the thinnest Hook one you can get. I don't know what it's called. And you just really have to try them until you find one you like and stick with it.
That's the thing with them, you know, fit, because they all fit different.
Yeah, they fit
different. And it's kind of a trial. And if you can find a place that carries several different brands, your best bet's to go in somewhere and try them all on.
The thing you got to remember when you're trying them on, or when you're trying one out, is, like, for me, my thin upper body, I need a big shirt to cover that, which in turn makes the sleeves long most of the time. But so when you try it on, you think, man, these sleeves are long. But you got to remember, you're doing this. You know, you got the rod in your hand. So your sleeves, even though they're long, they're made that way so they don't go all the way down your arm, and this upper part is getting burnt. So you think they're long, but they're really not. You think they're going to get in the way, but they really don't. That's kind of my 2 cents.
Yep. I would agree with that.
And, you know, another thing dealing with the summertime is covering your body, covering your head, covering your ears, wearing sunscreen, but we gotta worry about the fish. How in the world do you take care of your fish?
So for me, and I've done this for a long time now, and my thing is once the water temp hits 75 degrees, I start icing my live wells. I do it from there plumb until the water gets back down into the 70s in the fall. And when I say ice them, I carry a lot of ice. So I have split individual live wells on my nitro. I'll put 10, 12 pounds in each side, close the latches, and then, you know, like on Grand right now, it's only a 3-fish limit. So you really don't need both live wells at the same time. So I will fill one very first thing in the morning and get enough water in there to melt the ice. And then the G juice, you know, I use G juice religiously. For everybody that's got oxygenators, you have to. You can't use the powdered treatment stuff. But so what I've been doing this past couple months, and I've done it, you know, the whole time I've been fishing tournaments, is just ice, and more ice. You know, you catch these fish 15, 20 foot deep this time of year.
It's almost to the point of it. I've been with you when we fish tournaments in the summer and stuff, and it's for you guys that are listening. It's almost to the point to where it almost shocks me how much ice he puts in his live wells.
Yeah, I really do, because if you think about,
are you figuring water temperature in your live well versus surface temperature?
Correct.
10, 15 degrees cooler.
Yeah, correct.
There.
Yep. Try to drop it by 10 degrees. So I will start out with that amount in my live wells, and by 10 or 11 o'clock, with the 3-fish limits, I will just take those fish that's been in the one side and fill the other side, and you've got brand new water, brand new G juice, and brand new ice. And it does. I've done this for a long, long time. I've never had one stunned, never killed one, never nothing. Another thing on the live wells that have the overflows, I plug my overflows. And once I get it full, I never introduce new fresh water to my live wells.
New hot
fresh water. But along with that amount of ice, I also have a soft-sided cooler that I carry another 20 pounds. And as the day goes on, I add. So when and I think everybody's seen this before, when you run your research on high and you've got enough of this live well treatment in there, your water will get foamy. For me, when that happens, you know, that's why I carry the extra ice, because if I need to cycle in fresh water or feel like I need to, then I've got enough ice to you know, regulate the water to where they're not going from 70-degree water to 85-degree water back to 70-degree water.
Yeah.
And and again, running your pumps. I've heard this in tournaments, and whether it be local tournaments, big tournaments, guys say, oh, you know, I don't want to run my pumps because my batteries. Well, you know, you owe that to the fish to do everything you can to take care of them. But the biggest proprietor in the summertime for me is ice, and lots of it.
Now I'm going to chime in on ice. You're just like scooping a handful of ice, or are you like maybe doing Ziploc bags of ice? Or
I've done it all, Danny. I've frozen milk jugs. I've done Gatorade bottles. I've put the additive in the water in the Gatorade bottle, taken the cap off, thrown it in there. And I don't know that there's a wrong way as long as you're using it. I personally now I just dump just ice, whether you go to an ice house or to the gas station and get bags. If you can find 10 or 12 pound bags, I just throw the bag in there and put enough water in there. I don't fill it completely, but I put enough in there that it's going to melt the ice and be ready for when I put fish in.
I think I wished I had a Gene Gillen, you know, on speed dial so we could ask, but I know some guys are concerned, and I think maybe Danny's question kind of points at it a little bit, is some people are concerned about the chlorine level in the ice.
Yes, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, and I think by the time that it mixes with the lake water and then the live well treatment, I think that's null and void.
I really wonder, I know this is maybe one of those dumb questions, but I wonder how many gallons does it actually take to make 10 pounds of ice? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Versus how many gallons is your live well? I'm sure there's some.
Well, and all the live wells are different sizes.
Some nerdy calculation out there.
I'm sure there's a mathematical equation into this.
Gene would tell you that the chlorine in a bag of ice is not enough to hurt the fish.
Correct.
I don't seem to think it is.
And that's the same thing I've heard too. I just, I
The
don't know.
The only time we used any kind of chlorine treatment working at bass, when we put 4 to 15 bags of ice in those tanks backstage
Right.
every day before weigh-in to cool down the water. And the only time we ever used any kind of chlorine treatment is when we had to use non-lake water to fill the tanks, like from a fire hydrant or or anything like that. And we had these tabs that we put in, chlorine tab or non-chlorine. I don't know what they are. They took the chlorine out of the water.
Sure.
But we didn't use them whenever we were just putting ice in the tanks. We did treat the water with basically a salt solution that we bought from Aqua somewhere. But it's basically just a salt solution that's got a blue colored dye in it so you can see, but it's basically salt. And, Gene will tell you, as Brandon says, just use salt. If you're going to use, he doesn't think that the treatments are bad, like G juice. They're just not FDA approved. So Gene can't endorse them, for in case you're going to eat the fish.
Right.
Which we don't do. But if we were crappie fishing and we were wanting to keep the fish alive for some reason, the G juice and all those other things are not FDA approved. We don't know what they do to humans when you eat fish that have been in them. Basically, is what Gene would tell you. We should have Gene on.
That would be
a good idea.
I bet we could get Gene to come on.
That would be awesome, because that old boy, I mean, when he talks at Bassmaster, I listen, because he's a wealth of knowledge on just conservation in general and taking care of Mother Nature. He's a smart guy, so that would be cool. Why don't you get that? Just go ahead and get that worked out and put that in the schedule for us, John. Appreciate that.
All right, I'll get on it.
Something else that's in my routine for summertime fishing, if we got a minute to keep going on this, is,
sure.
Summertime, you're running all your pumps. Most of the time the fish are feeding on shad, so they'll puke stuff up, whether it be shad, crawdads, whatever. A person really needs to look in his live wells at the end of each tournament at the screens. Those screens, whether they're threaded in or not, will get covered in so much gunk that your recircs aren't pumping like they should. And so I'm pretty diligent about, after every tournament, looking. And it doesn't take 5 minutes to unscrew them out of your live well. Take a toothbrush and hot water and clean them. And then once a month or so, when I go to practice, I'll fill my live wells, and then I dump a bottle of peroxide in it and let it recirc all day, just to kind of clean it up, so to speak. Don't know the science behind it. It's just, I may be a twinge OCD, so it works for me. Just that much. Ice, and more ice. You can't go wrong with ice.
Ice, baby.
There you go.
What Brandon says is true. Gene will tell you this too, that you don't want to cool it down too much.
No.
I know
10
Scott,
degrees.
5 to 10. Gene will tell you 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Is the prime rate, and one of the main reasons is because if you cool it down, they can go into, you can cool it down. Fish can survive when you put them in cold water. Where they don't survive is when you take them from your live well that's been cooled like 15 degrees below the surface temperature, and then you put them back in the live release boat, or you just dump them out on the shore, and it's instantly 15 degrees warmer. that hurts them. That hurts them worse than anything.
Yep.
So you just want to cool it down, 5 to 10 degrees below the surface temp, what you're getting on your temp gauge.
Yeah, and some of the boats now have temp gauges in their live wells.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna go in the woods. We're gonna go in the woods a little deeper and talk some fishing tackle, or we're gonna stay on the conservation side of the boat. Because in my opinion, I got to pull something out of you because you've been tight-lipped to me since we've been fishing Grand. So
Me?
yeah.
No. We fished against each other.
Let's get a little deeper in the woods on this. So, summertime staples. If I was fishing a tournament with you tomorrow, what are you going to have on the front deck strapped down, ready to go? You get as many rods as you want, because I know Jimmy Christmas. He's got a 21-foot nitro, and there's barely enough space for two of us up there because he's got 15 rods on one side and 10 on the other.
That's just so nobody stands that close to me. That's why there's a back deck.
Boom.
Geez. So we'll just call it Grand. I mean, I could do this and say we're going to Stockton and completely blow this up.
I mean, but there is a difference. I will say that.
So Grand, I'm going to have a 10-inch worm. I'm going to have a motion fishing football jig. There's my sponsor plug. Go to motionfishing.com.
You can say it louder if you want. It's fine. If there's some sort of, what color football jig? Are you just going to throw a black and blue glob, or are we going to throw something natural?
Nope. Gill candy.
There's a little juice right there, actually.
There's the secret. Whether you're
let the lies begin.
Whether you're flipping or dragging a motion fishing company Gill candy jig.
That is a pretty jig. I will say that. And I tie my own.
Yes, it is.
So, I've been playing around with a flutter spoon and a hair jig. I'm going to have them on there just because I think I need to. I might as well just throw them up in a tree and just break them off.
I was going to ask how many fish we caught on those.
So, I've managed to catch 3 rocks. I caught a turtle.
Have you ever caught a stick and fought it halfway to the boat thinking you was really doing something? You caught a good one?
Oh, that's about every time I go. But
not yet this week.
So summer, we're getting into the point of summer now where it's going to start turning. The days are already getting shorter. It's just kind of, they're not pulling water, so they're spread out. They're not grouped up. They're not sitting actively feeding. So it's just there's 2 trains of thought, I guess. You run and gun, or do you try to find 2 or 3 spots where there's a few fish and just beat them to death? But
go camp on a ledge, or
typically I try to go with the majority. Where are the majority of the fish this time of year? And most of them are going to be offshore. But there's a lot of structure on Grand Lake too. I've caught a lot of 5-pounders on boat docks. So
absolutely.
And it just depends on the day. We had 2 tournaments on back-to-back days a couple weeks ago, and you guys done really, really well. Mm-hmm. And we thought we did. We had 12.55 for a 3-fish limit, didn't even get a check. And then the next
you still
day,
finished in the top 15.
Sure.
Of the 90 boat field. So I mean, you still had a great day.
The Sunday, the second day of those 2 tournaments was cloudy, and it completely blew apart everything I'd found. And it was tried and true. You just ran enough of it, and you'd find a school, and you'd catch them. And so when the clouds came out, it was terrible. It's fishing, I guess. I think I went round enough of that real bad where he has no idea what I'm throwing.
Yeah.
Worm, jig. You can't go wrong with that. There might be a sneaky bait in there somewhere, but I'm not going to tell that one.
There's a challenge to you guys from Travis Birch.
Where is it?
how does one get Kister and Tassi to fish the World Fishing Tour on Grand?
Quit having them during the week.
Have it in a time of year where
no.
somebody like me has some PTO they can use.
And don't let and make it a non Ackerson, Little John, Weitzel, Johnson day.
Kojak,
Mark Talley.
Mark Talley. The list can go on and on and on. If we had a tournament that none of them guys could fish, we'd be fishing Bone Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they came to Bone Creek.
No, I'd fish. It'd be us against you. It'd be me and Moody. You two.
Maybe it should just be the 4 of us.
Yeah.
I will say this about Grand Lake. I guess maybe we might have a local on. Having those guys to fish against down there has made it so much fun and enjoyable. I mean, used to get my rear end kicked in by the Diffees and the Paul Smiths and Alan Heads and the Gary Carriers of the world. Now it's different. The times have changed and it's somebody else. But more competition, the better for me, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me more competitive. It makes me a better fisherman. It really does.
I mean, it's still fishing. You never know what's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I did take my grandkids fishing a week ago today. Let me show you. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Here.
Zoom in on the background.
Hold on.
Just zoom in on the background. Yeah.
I think I know that spot.
Hold on.
Turn your location off.
Hold on. Oh, wrong way.
That's the pool.
Oh, there we go.
That's what I'm talking about, Jack.
Nice.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
Man, I'm getting old. I can't see it.
It's hard to see, but it
Yeah.
looks like a
see
good
that one? You
I
see
can
that one?
that.
Nice one.
How about that one?
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
That looks like Patricia.
How about that one?
It looks like
Hey,
maybe.
Patricia. Jeez.
So the catfish and the first picture I showed you of the 2 little fish, he caught on his Snoopy pole because he didn't bring his good pole with him. By himself, made the cast, made the hook set, reeled it in.
Sweet.
And
So
Amelia
something-
caught it by herself.
Something that happens at Grand Lake every June that it's really cool, and maybe you guys are familiar with this, maybe you're not, but while we're talking about getting kids fishing and showing pictures of kids fishing, the Podunkers Fishing League, if any of you are familiar with that on Grand Lake, they do an annual kids tournament in June. And for anybody that's thinking about fishing it's amazing. They do a really, really good job with that.
We will have to get the Little Johns on and next season and have them talk about that a little bit because that is pretty cool. I think next year Max will be old enough too that it'll be time to pop his cherry on Grand Lake. So
Yeah, that's quickly become my favorite tournament. My 13-year-old nephew loves it. And I got 2 more behind him that I got to get through this. So they got to keep doing it.
Sweet.
Travis Birch, I've got a deal. Until you come on the podcast, I ain't fishing nothing that you're a tournament director of.
Oh.
Jeez.
I haven't even asked him yet. Jeez. Okay, yeah, we got to have Travis on. We got to have Kyle Crank on.
We've got a list. We got a promise of at least until December. So
Yeah.
I hear that. And there's the first awkward silence of the evening.
What else we want to talk about?
Well,
Everybody throw out their favorite lure right now.
ooh, favorite lure.
Hands down, bar none. no matter where you go, day in and day out, what's the first bait you're going to throw?
Especially with it being the ICAST week and none of us are invited.
They probably wouldn't let me in.
That's a good conversation to have.
So no matter where you're fishing, farm, pond, lake, wherever, what's the first rod and reel and bait you're going to pick up?
Well, Brandon and I are throwing the same thing. I was about to say I'm going to put some size of brush hog on something.
Brush hog.
Yeah.
He's a Grand Laker.
If you're a redneck like me, you call it a bush hog.
A bush hog.
Bush hog. Tube.
Get that Walmart brand bush hog. Oh,
Tube.
okay.
Tube.
Clutch Eco. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Tube. Yeah. That'd be the second thing I would rig up would be a tube.
I mean, you know me.
John, you've said the word tube enough on this podcast. Would you please elaborate just a little bit? Please.
That's it.
Is there anything else? I mean, there's Bitsy Bug tubes, there's Denny Brower flipping tubes, there's big tubes, little tubes, double dip tubes, blah blah blah.
It's just a tube. 4.2 inch green pumpkin. Might dip the tail a little bit. Tube.
Okay.
Usually rigged stupid tube style.
Interesting. Usually rigged stupid tube.
There's a Kansas angler. By golly. I love it. Beautiful.
Jesse Jordan is somebody that taught me a little bit about the stupid tube. And he's an absolute, or was an absolute nut about it. So that is interesting. Actually, one of my favorite baits was
I should have 50 of them arriving tomorrow.
Nice.
One of my favorite baits was a tube until the company quit making them. When the company quit making them, I kind of quit throwing them a little bit. So now my favorite plastic is a missile bait D-bomb. And it's kind of similar a little bit, kind of tubey, but it's also kind of, flip creature bait kind of thing. And it catches them in the spring, summer, and fall, and I love it.
D-bomb, and I throw a destroyer a lot.
Yeah.
The baby destroyer. Baby destroyer and a destroyer.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Evan Hartnett, I'm going to delete your comment. We don't mention that brand here. We don't attract attention to it.
I think the Snack Daddy comment may have came from the Jesse Jordan comment that I made.
There's only one brand of tube. Only one brand of tube.
Well, for me, I'm kind of a lure connoisseur a little bit, and there's some favorite lures, but said favorite lures I will not ever tie on and cast because you can't get them anymore. Rebel Baitfish Series crankbaits and the crappie pattern, for example. The original Pose that aren't worth anything, but I've got a pile of because I love them. Even some RC 1.5s. I just bought a couple of those the other day, and I skinned a guy. I absolutely skinned the guy accidentally. I did, boy, bad. Got him cheap. I won't ever throw them. I won't ever throw them.
I caught about a 5-foot gar the other day that I tried to hold down. Ended up having to lay on it while my partner took the hooks out of it. Those were about a $60 square bill. Hey, they're slimy.
I bought a Phantom Brown brand new for $15.
I know where you got it too.
Skinned him. But here we are.
Hard to beat a chatterbait.
Chatterbait's good.
Chatterbait's fine when they're biting it. A big
Fritz side
spicy
5.
beaver.
Fritz side 5. I will throw a lot early.
D-bomb.
That's what I
So
said.
somebody's a D-bomb, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
what I said.
Stockton Lake, if it's in the bushes,
Duh bomb.
that's the only bait you need. D-bomb. Grand Lake, I've never caught a fish on Grand Lake on a D-bomb. Don't know why. Swear to God. I can throw it for 4 hours and pick up a bush bug and catch one in 5 minutes.
Is that the Strat King thing? What are you talking about? Bush bug.
A brush hog.
Oh, brush. Here's the code word again. Here we go.
Yeah. We're all fishermen, aren't we?
Yeah.
Can't believe somebody would actually lie to their own brother, Face to face even. Face to face.
Well, right beside each other.
Right beside one
He's
another.
got me a little close to him too, and I'm not
Shoot.
understanding this.
Even in the same boat, fishing the same tournament, and he'll tell me the wrong color.
Well, he's colorblind. He doesn't know the color.
That's easy to do. Easy pickings.
Oh, goodness me.
What you boys got coming up this weekend? Anything good?
I'm going to fish Saturday nighter.
Oh,
Nice.
We both have the final future bass on Sunday.
Final future bass.
Double points too.
You think maybe it'll be a little bit cooler too? I think.
82. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll
it's
make
not
the
too
fish.
bad.
Maybe that'll make the fish bite.
Whopper plopper all day. Bluffs.
Good luck with that.
All day. Danny, you got any fun plans?
I mean,
We
nobody
are
even
on-
mentioned what they're biting on. Nobody even mentioned
oh.
We'll talk after the show's over.
it. I mean, you know what they're biting on. The same thing they've been biting on.
I'm gonna kick Scott out of the shop here in about 20 minutes. We'll talk.
It's
He
probably the
knows.
same thing we're,
He
it's
knows.
probably the same thing we're all throwing.
He knows, yes.
We're all throwing it.
Yes, everybody's throwing it.
Some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Brian's got the all-nighter at Big Hill. Cherryville Bassmasters got their night tournament from 8 to 8. That'll be an interesting event.
I'm not
And
doing
my money is it gets one on a 10-inch worm.
Buzzbait. Buzzbait and a swim jig.
Well, I'd be missing an eye, and
Are you fishing them? Are you fishing?
Mm-mm.
I'm fishing the future bass with Moody on Sunday.
Well, you're not fishing the night tournament?
Absolutely not.
How many
If it was a night
Oh.
tournament, if it was a night tournament,
do that baby a bone?
I might go, but it's not a night tournament. It's 8 to 8. It's half day, half night.
There's a summer bass brawl on Stockton too on Saturday at Old State Park.
Bobby Morgan, Summer Bass Brawl on Facebook. They'll have, 40 or 50 boats or something?
Oh,
This time of year, do they
20.
have less?
yeah, 25, 30.
25, 30? They still pay decent, though.
Yeah.
It's a nice little tournament. Was it like $60?
$60 entry. I think there's a $20 or $30 membership. They pay out really good in their class in their championship too.
Yeah, they do. It's a good.
I think
it's a good
last
old
year.
one.
I think last year it paid $3,500 to first place.
Yeah.
So that's not bad for just a little summer deal.
We got to go over in September. What's that one? Is that the Labor Day
Oh,
brawl
yeah.
or whatever? We got to redeem ourselves, maybe.
I don't think you'll pull enough boats on Big Hill, Travis.
Tell him to bring that baby to Bone Creek.
I don't think you pull enough boats on Bone Creek.
No, be the only way I'd win it, and probably still wouldn't.
Tell him to bring it to the Arma Church Catholic Pond.
I'd like to do it on Grand. It's through the week and it's hard to take off work. I've only got so much vacation time and I pretty well burned through that.
You got to have an I'm not going to say it. Never mind. Travis, we'll get you on the show. We got to get him on the podcast and have him break down how tournament circuit actually works, because it's, for some dumb redneck like me, it's hard to understand.
Are you going to be?
Well,
You just got
Are
to
they
win the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. You just got to win whatever day you're fishing, or get second if you got enough boats.
yeah,
Are you
that's
gonna be-
pretty much it.
Are you going to be on Grand next year, Travis?
But he's got weekend qualifiers.
Top 20%.
Oh, top 20% of the day you fish. Yes, that's correct.
Danny,
Yes.
you get him lined up next few weeks here.
All right. So we've talked everything we were going to talk about, except your go-to. If you're going to Grand Lake, Scott, you got to stop somewhere to eat. Where are you stopping?
It can even be on Grand Lake.
Or you're going to dinner somewhere. Either one.
It's hard to beat Honey Creek Barbecue. That's
Good
pretty
place.
good eating.
Man,
Not
he,
bad.
he was crossing his fingers under the screen for Tomcat Corner. I'm just telling you. It's kind of an inside deal, but he was crossing his fingers. You said Tomcat.
I mean, I like the smoked bologna. It just doesn't like me sometimes. There's that, and you're down there, John, that little place, the gas station there before you get to Wolf Creek. And then there's that little restaurant right there just south of it.
Is it
Matt.
Matt?
Is it Matt's place? They've got a good prime rib, and their breakfast is really good.
Yeah.
Ooh, the pizza place. What's it? Is it good?
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Good fellas. Yeah.
That bacon cheeseburger thing.
Yeah. That's
That's
good.
pretty good eats too.
Yeah.
That's about it for me.
Yeah. We need like a Texas Roadhouse.
Now, some friends of mine that live down there, Mark and Stephanie Talley, they somewhere down in the back of Drowning Creek, there's some restaurant, and they do the all-you-can-eat crab legs and stuff. Do you know what they're talking about?
Yeah. I know. I've seen the signs and stuff. It takes a while to get back in there.
Yeah,
I personally like the Drunken
Wildwood.
Roosters down in
That's
Duck.
right. Brandon Wildwood.
Wildwood.
never
Yeah.
been there.
Mark got smoked bologna.
Yeah, he did. He don't pass that baby up.
He didn't stop to say hi either.
Mm,
He'll see you. Is he coming down?
No, we're
Woody,
driving.
you
down.
going down early?
No,
No, we got 0 rooms sold this weekend. Oh, we got 3 for the casino, but no fishermen. Future bass.
Kind of that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little slow right now. I
Yeah.
might go to Iowa. I've been trying to get somebody to go with me to Minnesota, but nobody wants to go. So I'm gonna go maybe to Iowa next week, and I think me and Amelia are gonna just hit the road. They got all these little Bone Creek type lakes up there, and I
Yep.
think we're just gonna hit about 4 or 5 of them and go camping and just have a good time. They're all packed full of bass.
The weather will be nice.
Weather will be nice, I think. I think that's what we're going to do.
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
John, on those same lines with your Minnesota trip, if you plan something for next July,
Yeah.
Kibby wants in. Richard Kiblinger would be interested in going,
Absolutely.
as would I. Yeah.
We need to get a Idle Zone Syndicate Minnesota trip planned.
Ooh.
Mid to end of July, after the 4th, before the, go up there. We can. I got some contacts up there. Okoboji is awesome. We could probably stop and fish it on the way. Brandon, maybe you could go with us.
It'd be fun. Something
Heck
different.
yeah.
I always like fishing somewhere new.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I want to go to Texas too. Texas or Mexico.
Man, so do I. I'd like to go down to Texas.
I
Got
mean,
some-
yeah, I'd like to go to Mexico. I'll go to
Yeah.
Mexico with you sometime. That'd be an awesome trip. I
Yeah, I
know.
I don't know that I'd ever go back to Toledo, but I'd like to go to Fork or Ivy or somewhere fun.
We've got some friends here local that were from Texas, and the guy's a tournament fisherman, and
Yeah,
he knows all the smaller lakes in Texas that don't get pounded like Fork. And he said
Mikey would be a good one to go with.
he said they're you can catch it all day long, all night long, whatever you want to do. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun too. See if we can get a hold of a big old double digit.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's just so dang crowded.
Yeah, that's kind of why my buddy was like, you need to just do these smaller lakes that not.
You need to find them, like the Forks of the world and the Gunnersville and all
Well,
those
look at-
places. They're so
What's
packed.
there
It's hard to have a good time.
has been running to since MLF was there.
Bussy break.
Yeah, Bussy Break. Look at it. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago it was amazing, and now it's just getting pounded.
I mean,
Yeah.
but everybody went to bed the night after Randy Howe flipped that 12-pounder out of that bush and like to freaking die, So
I mean, the thing about Minnesota, and it's my favorite. If somebody asks me where your favorite place to fish in the country is, it's Minnesota. And the thing about Minnesota is, like Brandon says, Leech Lake's about to get exposed. And it probably is, when they have the open up there. But it don't matter. I mean, you can go to Leech Lake, like we can go to Mille Lacs, and if the fish aren't biting on Mille Lacs, we put the boat on the trailer and we drive 5 minutes or 10 minutes and take our pick of 20 different little lakes
That'd be nice.
that are chock full of bass, and catch smallmouth, largemouth. Doesn't matter if we're whacking them on Mille Lacs, we stay, and if we're not, we load up and go somewhere else. And it doesn't take us all day to get there. Take us a few minutes. That's what I like about Minnesota.
Mhm.
I don't know about Falcon, Mark. I know it's low. I know it's low. That's kind of why I'd like to go to Mexico, because it's not going to be as crowded. It's going to be more expensive, but it's not going to be as crowded as your Fork and your.
what's that? Is
Right.
that Guerrero and El Salto?
Yeah.
I think those are the two.
Yeah, a friend of mine just
Where's
sent me.
Coatney go? Falcon?
I think he's on several of them.
Oh,
Friend of mine just sent me something a week or so ago with some prices down there. But spend 3 days down there, 3 days, 4 nights or whatnot. It'd be a lot of fun. Well, I can't find anything. So
I don't know about Amistad.
1,500 probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pack all my Kisslers in the plane though. That'd be kind of hard.
yeah, you can ship them.
Well, on the Minnesota thing, Dan,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just pick a week. So think about it for a week or two, and let's pick a week and start planning it. Like I can get with our contacts up there and reserve. I know a guy that has a house on Mille Lacs with a boat dock and all that stuff. And then I know another guy that has like some cabins that their family used to run a resort, but they sold the resort, and now but they kept a couple cabins for their use. and
Sweet.
we can probably get those pretty economically, I think.
As
Very
Brandon
cool.
says, 100 fish a day, that wouldn't be that bad.
No.
I think I could handle
I
that.
can stomach that pretty easily.
Yeah. It sure beats my 3 fish day on Grand Lake.
Yeah, really. Another lie.
And I was counting the drum I caught.
I did haul home a 23.5-pound Mississippi white Sunday. That was nice. That was some good eating Sunday evening.
Yeah, you can have your catfish.
Oh, I desperate times call for desperate measures. Max thought it was a dinosaur. I put ice on the daggum thing and hauled it all the way back to Armin. It was still extremely lively, and there was actually some people in the pool when I got home. And like a redneck, I'm dragging it into the backyard, going to hang it from a tree and skin it out, And I thought, how ornery would it be if I just threw this big pool right now?
Oh, I knew where you were going with that. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I did. I started towards the pool with both hands in that sucker's mouth, and I was acting like I was lobbing it over the side, and everybody's panicking and don't do that. So,
Funny story from when I was, I don't know, 17, 18 years old. I fished a little, just Tuesday night tournament around here, and I caught like a 50-pound flathead. Well, I was going to take it home and eat it, and that was in the Bass Tracker 3 days, so it didn't fit in the live well. I had to pull it back on my massively 25-mile-an-hour boat alongside the boat. But when I got home, it was dark, so I'm out there with the headlights of the truck skinning this thing, and next thing I know, the county sheriff pulls up into my driveway, and I thought, well, what's this all about? And he said, where's the deer? And I said, what are you talking about? I said, what deer? And he said, well, your neighbor called and said you were out here skinning a deer. And I said, it's a stinking catfish. And I thought, okay. That's the last one I ever kept, too, by the way. I got arrested for skinning a catfish.
you live in a town full of rednecks. What do you expect,
You'd have thought somebody would have helped me clean it.
Yeah, really.
I've been looking around in here since I've been in Kyle's garage trying to find these secret crankbaits so he could show y'all, but I'm not seeing them. You think we ought to make him show them?
I pulled security before he got here, so.
He's been buying all these crankbaits. He's fleecing people. I'd sure like to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably keeps them at work.
They're probably locked away in his gun safe because I've never seen him throw them. He's walking around now. You can see what it is. Oh, now I see it.
You know exactly what it is.
We'll show everybody.
Exhibit A.
For those of you that know what that is.
Oh, dear.
LC, or it's RC 1.5. Phantom.
Rattling.
And then it's a square bill, but it's a Strike King. It says Lucky Craft on the underneath, and it's a little bit bigger than 1.5. I'll just leave it at that. Bigger round.
I think you've offended your other partner.
Yeah, I know. So we're just gonna be done with it.
I've never seen these before.
You guys that collect tackle, you guys see this crankbait right here?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's the
Rebel
bait fish series. And this is the crappie, the white crappie. Old school, going old school, John, Danny, Moody. Back in the day, I'd go fish with my dad. We'd get to struggling and couldn't catch anything. Didn't matter the time of year. It really didn't. He'd pull this stupid crankbait out of his tackle box, and it wouldn't be long before he'd get a bite. It was just incredible. And, I can be real super honest and say I can count on one finger how many times I've thrown a crappie-colored crankbait since he's passed away. I
never
just
thrown one.
absolutely almost will not throw a crappie colored crankbait. Have no clue why, but it's kind of a sneaky little color scheme on a crankbait if you think about it. I know of a really, really good Ozarks angler, actually, that maybe it might be a little bit gimmicky. I don't know, but the whole crank wraps thing,
Yeah.
and Algio, he just won a really pretty good sized tournament on Table Rock throwing a 10XD, and I heard him say he was putting a crappie colored crank wrap on that 10XD.
It's possible. If you think about it, I mean, Stockton Lake or any core lake, you know, where you can run brush piles all day long. You know what lives in brush piles in the summer? Crappie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it makes sense, but
It's just, maybe it's something I'd start tying back on. Not this one. This is the holy grail for me. I've got a few more, but this is actually the original one out of the tackle box, so it's going back where it belongs. But
I'm not a big collector. If I can't catch a fish on it, I'm not buying it.
Right.
That's the way I feel. This stuff's expensive enough the way it is. I don't need them just sitting on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you have to buy tackle, you win by attrition. If you buy all the baits, nobody else can have them.
No, that's true.
that's what Mooney's motto is.
That is true.
True.
Scott, do you have a pool?
What's that?
Do you have a pool at home?
No, I don't.
Oh, dang it. Well, there goes that crazy idea for a topic.
No, I do not. Kyle's got one here.
John's got a pond out back. That's
Yeah, I got a pond over there.
Kyle, as a fellow pool owner, because I love the flathead story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is the grossest thing you've ever found in your pool when you uncovered it in the spring?
Well, it's a good thing I don't have a pool.
So I've had a pool now I've had a pool for 3 years. We made the mistake the first year of not triple shocking it before winter. And that spring I uncovered it, and I've got a 30-foot round pool. Trying to do it myself when having Emily help me, my wife, and it wasn't going very good. And there was some water still on top of the cover and yada, yada, yada. So I had to get in the water. And for those of people that don't know, I'm not a real big fan of the old slims at all. And the water was the color where you couldn't quite see your feet. So it was a little sketch to begin with. And a little teeny tiny innocent tree frog rubbed up against my leg. And I almost had a bowel movement and a physical movement at the same time. That's about it.
Oh, dear.
That's about it.
Really?
Most of the time we get those little spring frogs or whatever in there, and because they like that warm cover. But my gosh, yeah. What about you?
Oh, just wait. Man. So one time, and it was before last summer, I'm going to say it was, probably 16, 17 years ago. Connor and his buddy out there one day, and it's kind of funny. Those airsoft pellets will go through a pool cover.
Oh no.
And I thought about uncovering the pool and drowning them in it, honestly, but I didn't. And I had to get in and straighten it all out, tie it up again. And I'm like you, I climb off in that thing and I'm barefoot And I'm like, what is that? And it was under my foot and it was squishy. And I reached down and I grabbed it. And it was what was left of a deceased squirrel.
Oh, golly.
So I had squirrel squish between my toes.
Oh, that's terrible.
And the boys shot up my pool cover. And yeah, have kids, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I climb out, went inside, got in the shower, washed that foot about 15 times,
Oh my gosh.
and then cracked a beer and just forgot about it.
I
But
will
yeah,
say
that
this.
was a great moment.
I will say this about swimming pools because I was actually the one that wanted one after spending so many hot summers without one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more enjoyable to go to somebody else's pool and swim than be a pool owner.
That's exactly why I don't have one.
So
Yeah, it is.
honestly, when we get done with this podcast every week, I usually go spend about the last hour of the day backing it and make sure the chemicals are right and all that. Cause it's a chore. It really is, but we have so much fun in ours. Something that kind of goes along with taking kids fishing. And I mean, this is as serious as I can get is teaching your kids to swim and making that a priority before you get them in the boat.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people ask, your son's getting to the age you're going to take him fishing. How come you're not taking Max fishing all the time? Well, there for a little while, he hadn't been to swim lessons. He hadn't swam that much. He was kind of hesitant about getting around the water. He wasn't comfortable, and I wasn't personally comfortable with him getting in a boat with me. I was scared that he was going to fall in and something was going to happen. So we've got both kids currently. Even Max has been in survival swim lessons now for 4 years. And my little daughter, she's 2.5. She's been in swim lessons now for a few months, and money well spent. So I mean, that's honest to God's truth. If you're not comfortable around water yourself, which I am, but if the youngin that you're taking isn't comfortable around water, obviously, it's a law. They have to have their life jacket on and stuff, but that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why we got a pool is we want them to be comfortable around because we're outdoors people and we spend a lot of time around the water and so
Mm-hmm.
it's been a help.
Oh, absolutely. And it bears mentioning that maybe before the end of the summer, you get his life jacket out and you put that life jacket on him and toss him in the pool
Yeah.
and have him understand how the life jacket's going to work.
Yeah.
And how he'll be able to move or not move in it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because until it happens to you, no one really understands that it's not like you just put on a vest and jump in the water. I mean, it floats you a certain way and it restricts your movement in a certain way. And just good parenting stuff there, Kyle.
Yeah. I just recently got housebroke, not very long ago.
I'm not.
Scott can attest. I mean, I mentioned that we were brothers. We're really not true blood brothers, but we've known each other for a long time. And
Yep.
I haven't been housebroke that long, but
And that's debatable if his wife was out here.
yeah, I'm glad she's not. To be honest, she'd fire away probably. But yeah. So take your
Fun
kids
night.
fishing. Take your kids fishing, but make sure when you do take them fishing that, man, you try to keep them safe. You know, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. This has been a good visit tonight, guys.
I
A lot
think
of good
so.
information.
Hour and 45 minutes later, here we are.
Here we are.
John, Kyle and I decided we're going to kind of take a back seat to you for next week.
Do you, before you go any further, DB,
Yeah.
are you gonna, John? Are you gonna let the cat out of the bag, or are we gonna make maybe a special announcement? Is John Stewart going to make a special announcement tonight, or is he going to do it later on?
No, we can tell our loyal listeners that are tuned in as we speak who we're going to have next week. I think, don't you think?
I think so.
Drum roll, please.
I wish I had one queued up.
That'd be good. So
Frank, that's your job.
Yeah. So next week, he's on the schedule. Still got it, and he said he'd be here, but so did Kevin Rich. So we'll see. But I think this guy's maybe a little more reliable. We're going to have on Elite Series angler, two-time back-to-back defending Bass Nation Championship champion, Will Davis Jr. Going to be on the show with us. He's down at ICAST this week, and we're going to talk about the nation and his trip to the elites and how he got there through the nation and whatever else he wants to talk about. It'll be good. And the reason why we're having Will Davis, and we're going to try to have some others. We're still efforting those others. But the reason we're having them is this year is the 30th anniversary of Brian Kerschel winning the Bassmaster Classic in July. So we thought that we would try to get some nation champions on, and we are trying to get more on, so you can kind of read between the lines.
Yeah,
Maybe guess who you think we might be trying to get. But Will Davis is the current reigning nation champion, back-to-back defending champion, and Elite Series angler from Alabama, Sylacauga, Alabama, Will Davis Jr., and he has agreed to come on. So it should be a good show.
It should be. You know, his dad's got a heck of a fishing background. Comes from a pretty fishy area of the United States, and it's going to be exciting.
Yep, Davis Bait Company. His dad owns Davis Bait Company. So it should be good. I think it'll be a good show.
I'll have my cold beverage and a bag of popcorn waiting.
Oh, man. Kyle, you know, we spawned this idea for this thing about, I don't know, a quick 2 or 16 beers into it at the watering hole there in Pittsburgh.
I think it was more like 16
on the evening of the boat show.
I saw both of you, and I'd say more like 16.
Well, who keeps track?
Who keeps track? You know, we might have to move that to Saturday night next time. But anyway. I can't believe how far we've come in the short amount of time we have. And we really don't even know what it is we're doing yet.
Yeah, well, you know, the one main thing that I just want to put out there though, this whole deal, this whole thought, and it was, I'm adding John into this too, because I know he was on board from the word go, is shedding some light on some, some friends of ours, some local pros, some regional fishermen, a lot of guys that really that have a hell of a bunch of good information that really don't have much of a voice or maybe even much of a presence on social media. That's really where we're at, I think, at this point. So it's been a fun ride. And I'm just, I look forward to the next episode every week, regardless if we get 10 people to talk smack to us in the comments or not. I've enjoyed the crap out of myself. So.
And I'm going to tell you right now that sharing it directly to the nation page instead of to YouTube and yada yada and that way is way more fun. Interacting with everyone over here. We're not going to get rich doing this. So I'd rather have fun and interact with everyone than worry about clicks and likes and monetization and yada yada yada. Thank you, Dennis.
There's Dennis Buck. I drew him in a big tournament as a co-angler last September. We had a good day.
He watched you take home the money.
We had a good day.
I paid him. I drew him in an ABA this year, and I paid him to tell me where you were at. So we'll just leave it at that.
He was my co-angler the first day, and it went from being, well, just basically I was headed home to Whistling Dixie real fast.
Yeah, now we've mutually got a spot on Grand Lake we call a BFL hole. So
yeah, me and all other 240 boats that fish Grand Lake.
Just change boats and they won't know it's you next time.
I think everybody knew. I think I was the last person to find it. But I found it on the right day, and that's all that matters.
First person to catch a bass off of it. So.
Oh, my.
Some of those are tall tails, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dennis put great net man. So let me elaborate a little bit on this because he'll get a kick out of this too. I was struggling. I was on the struggle bus bad, and I thought, well, I had one bite over there in practice, and there was nobody there, and I thought, let's go. And without fail, I saw some on the scope, and I thought, well, they're probably not bass anyways. And I threw out, about ripped the rod out of my hand, and it was I think it ended up it was a 574, 572, something like that. Jumped about 6 times, and I think on the 7th jump, he finally got it in the net. But I wasn't sure if I wasn't going to have I wasn't sure that I wasn't going to have a heart attack before it happened. But everything worked out good. It got in there, and through the other 4 or 5 I caught on that spot, he got pretty good at it by the end of the day. So hats off to Dennis because that one saved bacon there.
Got the old winning juices flowing, didn't it?
Yeah, boy, did it.
Awesome.
Moody said it sucked today. It has all year.
Chris Primiger joining us. Are you just on, Chris, or just now commented? Because you missed a whole bunch of secret stuff that you're going to have to go back and watch.
Right.
Some of it was about smoked bologna.
Mm-hmm.
It is good.
Oh, he's going to have to go back and watch.
Yeah, he's going to have to
go back and watch. It is getting dark. I may need to turn on the overhead lights on this pull-through parking here at the Lake Lodge that we have that covers your boat, and you got lighted electrical hookups, barbecue grill, picnic table. But I may need to turn on the overhead lights here.
Let everybody have a look.
If we're not gonna.
Turn them on.
All right,
turn them on real quick.
I need to come see the place anyways. I still haven't seen it. I know.
It's like the Ritz-Carlton of Grand Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Stop by there on your way home.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Now, I didn't even know you. If you wouldn't have said you had power poles, I wouldn't have known it until you turned the light on.
Yep.
I need to come see your place.
Come on.
I know, and I need to. I'll be down there this weekend, but I don't know. It depends on how the fishing is and how long I want to be a glutton for punishment.
I hear you. I might be going anyway. I might be headed to Iowa. So,
Yeah.
John, if you do head that way, be safe, buddy.
I got to remember we got a podcast on Wednesday. So, I got to be somewhere where I got internet.
That's right.
Yeah.
We might have a special guest we need interviewed.
Can't be camping out by the lake somewhere in Iowa next Wednesday.
Yeah. Because you don't want Kyle and I to interview Will Davis.
Well, you'll be
We'd
fine.
be on here for 4.5 hours.
I mean, we might need an interpreter. You know, he is from Alabama. He's got a little bit of an accent, but we'll be good. I live there long enough. I can understand most of what he says.
Good deal.
Had about a maybe, I don't know, 10, 15-minute conversation with him off and on. I've told you that story about him coming up and asking if I could show him how to get into the expo
Yeah,
at the Classic. And I think he called me sir 17 times,
right.
you know, in that 4-block walk.
Yep.
Good young man.
Great guy.
Nice
Great guy.
representative.
Good family. Good family.
Well, fellas,
Good show.
I had a fun.
Absolutely
Scott,
a good show.
thanks for coming on, buddy.
Good night. Guys that are watching,
Thanks for having me.
if you got questions, text Danny.
Bring them up. Bring all the questions.
Text him every day if you want.
Oh, yeah, please, because no one does.
Or you can text me. Either way.
Hashtag Idle Zone Syndicate.
Yeah. If you got questions or something you want to talk about, especially with Will Davis coming on, let us know.
Hey.
The who?
Okay, sorry about that, John.
No problem.
He shut it down.
I thought I could just load that and have it ready to go and just click play. Nope. It starts. So there's our ending theme song right in the middle of your final
That's right.
final
No
comment.
problem. It actually worked out pretty good, I think. Except we're still on.
Yeah, we are still on.
Boys, girls,
I didn't
children, all
leave.
ages.
I wanted you to finish your thought. I couldn't get it stopped fast enough.
I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying?
You were pleading with everyone to text you questions.
Questions.
You only to text you and not Danny is what you said.
Questions, comments, topics.
Topics, questions, everything. And if you got something you want to ask Will Davis, let us know and we'll ask the question. Or you can just come on here and comment and we'll ask the question.
Absolutely.
Spread the word. Spread the word about this thing.
Jack, you too, man. Thanks for your question tonight. I hope we helped you out some. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us tonight, Scott. Come on
Thanks for
anytime.
having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
I'll be glad to do it anytime. I've got all kinds of useless knowledge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
what we're about.
Maybe we'll get back on the Brandon Polinick UFO thing again.
Maybe.
Oh, Lord.
Because I'm not
Maybe.
ready to give that up. I'm not about to
Maybe.
give that up.
Maybe.
We could just slap Moody, myself, and Kyle, all three in here, and we'll make a go of it.
Be like a night at the round table.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Maybe we should do a late night uncensored version.
Oh, good God.
Oh my. Oh my.
That would go really, really good or really, really
It's
bad.
getting deep.
Amen. Folks, thanks for watching. Catch us next week when our guest will be Will Davis Jr., Elite Series angler, back-to-back Bass Nation Championship champion. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, he goes right back to the BNC this year as champion, doesn't he?
He can, yes.
He can.
And I believe he is going to, but we can ask him.
There's our first question. I like it. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch us next week.
See y'all.
Bye.
Now